Hi guys and welcome to Weber's Weekly Review. We're bringing it back. I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but might as well drop one today as I've got a little bit of time. So today we're going to start off a little bit different. We're going to go and look at the team of the week that's just been paid out. So this week's team of the week, for me, I got 9 out of 11, which is not the best for me. No big hitters really, but Dubravka in goal. He's been a great little buy. Anyone who's picked him up has obviously really enjoyed that hold. He obviously has a massive payout due to his small supply. Well over 100%. Traded him as well. So I bought quite a few and sold some of them at a profit. So I'm risk free now effectively, and he's still returning. So that's been absolutely great. Love Dubravka as a hold so far. Zinchenko, Gabriel and Pedro Porro all returned as well. So that Arsenal defence doing really well. Hold them as well. Hold all three of those defenders. No brainers really. Gabriel's got a goal in him, as well as being in a team that's very dominant and at the moment is very good at clean sheets. Very, very good at clean sheets. And then fullbacks, once again, I've said before, they are sort of not a cheat code in the matrix, but they are definitely have an advantage over the centre backs. So attacking fullbacks, absolutely love that. Moving on to midfield, we had some really high scores in midfield this week. 118, 98, 78 and 74. They were the four biggest scores in the week, and they were all by midfielders. I think Bruno Guimaraes also had the fifth highest, but he didn't make team of the week. Foden, KDB, Morgan Gibbs-White, Havertz. I don't have Phil Foden and I don't have Kevin De Bruyne. Why don't I is probably a very good question. For me, there's nothing against holding them. I would love to hold them. I'm just a little bit concerned about the 115 charges against Man City. I believe they will be expelled from the Premier League at some point. But really, I have held Man City players in small quantities this season. It was just that I bought Foden at IPO, I had the opportunity to take some profits on him. I did. Kevin De Bruyne as well. I've got in, got out, got in, got out, made profit both times. So I'm quite happy not holding them, even though they are serial winners. As you can see, their returns are very small per share. So for the expensive price you're paying, for me, I feel like I make more money elsewhere. But it was disappointing for them both to get into Team of the Week this week. But it is what it is. And then moving into the forwards, Calvert-Lewin, Luis Diaz and Chris Wood. Only slight disappointing thing about this is I had 10 more Chris Woods that I sold off last week. But I do currently still have a very small amount of 1.39, I think, Chris Woods about. And they're all refreshed, so I've got the in-play payouts for them as well, which was great. Luis Diaz continues his great form, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin finally gets a goal and gets into Team of the Week. So, yep, that was Team of the Week, which was quite nice. And then in-plays aren't really that great to look at, to be honest. So we're just going to jump into... Oh no, we will look into the in-plays. Just see the percentages. So the main sort of standout once again is Chris Wood. Only had a 49% refresh rate, which I thought was crazy, because all mine were refreshed. But obviously some people are not deciding to refresh, even though with Chris Wood, when he does, especially when he gets 5 in-plays in a game, he's obviously going to be profitable. Schlupp, once again, refreshed him, nicely done. Those small market caps are the only ones that are worth actually refreshing now, in my opinion. Most of the time, you just want in place. You only want to receive in place from trading in and out of players. But yeah, who else is there? I wish I could filter this top score. That'd be nice. Pereira got 9. He was one of the new IPOs, 9 in plays, which is quite big. Who else got quite a few? Mohamed Salah, that's to be expected. Son, 5. I have all my Sons refreshed at the moment, which so 50%, 5 in plays and 4 pence per share payout. Not too bad. Once again, it's very small though. The refreshing is just not profitable anymore, I don't really think, for so many players. So unless you're just actively selling and then buying into a new player, I really would not recommend refreshing unless you're dealing with the like absolute tiny market caps, such as Nonic McBurney. But yeah, not the best week for in-plays, as there was just so many. 10 for Luis Diaz, 3p per share. Like it just doesn't really add up anymore. There's just so many players getting these returns. Moving on to the IPOs. So let's look at last week's IPOs. So who did we have? We had Adingra, who sold 13,500. I thought that was a fair sort of total supply. 9,000 market cap. That sounds about right for him. Promising youngster. Will he have a bit of rotation when what's his name? Silly March comes back, Matoma comes back? But to be fair, he scored quite a few goals this season, and he has broken through. And when you play for Brighton, you know they do seem to be a team that's got their, you know, they're a well-run club at the moment. But it doesn't look like they're not going to make Europe, so slightly against him that. But 9,000 market cap, I think that's fair. And then we move on to Pereira, who obviously got, I think he had 7 in-plays before the end of his IPO. He might have even had all of them by the end of his IPO. So he was obviously going to sell quite a few. He came on quite cheap at 53 pence or 48 pence when ETH was a little bit lower. Almost 9,000 market cap again. 16,617 shares sold, or just over that probably at the IPO launch. Once again, I picked up 45. I picked up 130 Adingra, I didn't say that. I like him basically as a youngster, and yeah, I've got close to 1%. I'll get that with Shareburn soon enough. Pereira, because of I was worried about him overselling. Has he oversold? I don't think so. I think that's a fair amount. But I wouldn't say he's a screaming value at 16,000, so is what it is. And then the last one was Nico Jackson. Sold 9,831, or that's what he supplies at the moment at least. 10,000 market cap. Once again, I think that's fair. He was obviously a lot more expensive to start with at £1.05. Yeah, I got 50. I had quite a cash balance for a change. I hadn't actually been able to save up for a while, so I managed to get 50 without hurting the balance too much. Chelsea do look like they could go on to get Europe now, which would be good for Jackson. But then I was thinking about it like Chelsea are obviously probably going to be looking for a striker in the market, even though they are financially sort of stricken at the moment. But they do have Nkunku as well. And Nkunku in pre-season played a few games up front. So when he comes fit, if Jackson was Chelsea's guaranteed striker for the next 5 years, then of course this would be a great buy. If he's not, then he might not be a great buy. I know quite a few people were like really shocked by the low supply. But for me, I think it was fair. I actually thought he sold quite well, seeing that it was the last IPO of the week. Normally, people have already spent all their balance on the Tuesday, the Wednesday, well, all week, isn't it? By the time it finishes on the Sunday. And when you've got people refreshing as well at the end. For me, I think that sold quite well. So that's good signs for the platform in general. And then moving on to the IPOs, which are available this week. Jensen, Zuma, and Joe Gomez. Really quiet week, probably. People don't tend to like defenders, so Zuma and Gomez probably aren't going to get much attention. Gomez doesn't tend to score ever, so I don't think he's ever scored for Liverpool, I think I've seen. So that's going to be very hard for him to get into Team of the Weeks, even when you're playing for Liverpool, because you will be competing against Virgil van Dijk, Robertson, Tim Cass if he's on the pitch. Probably won't be. But it won't be an easy to get into Team of the Week now without scoring, especially as a centre-back. I know he does play full-back sometimes, but you know, he's not exactly a marauding attacking full-back. He's very much a centre-back playing, you know, left-back or right-back whenever needed. Kurt Zuma's obviously not particularly liked because he kicks cats. Neither of those two, Joe Gomez might have international utility, we'll see. Zuma doesn't, and Jensen does, but he plays for Brentford and is a bit of a meh player. So I think he plays for Brentford at least. But yeah, not the best for the IPOs front. No, none of them are particularly great age. But yes, it should be another cheap week, which should do well in the market. Might increase again. But yeah, that's about everything, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the weekly review. Yeah, thanks for watching, and see ya.